Forum on Capitol Hill for months now. Do the Republicans and the Democrats both realize that the American investing and voting public is aware that it's been 6 months since Enron went bankrupt, and none of those House or Senate investigations, of which there have been a dozen, have amounted to anything to this point, that there have been no charges brought against a single Enron executive? If the Republicans and the Democrats are serious about reform now, at last, then their actions will have to be at least as vigorous as their campaign rhetoric. That's my line for this Friday evening. Thanks for being with us, and have a very pleasant weekend for all of us here. Good night from New York.
Tonight, Don Imus got an issue. He's got an opinion. The I-Man, outspoken. We'll take calls. But first, the latest on the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping. Still no official suspect, but a lot of attention on Richard Albert Reese, an ex-con who worked at the Smart home. From Salt Lake, one of Elizabeth's aunts, Cynthia Smart Owens. Then the attorney for Richard Reese and his wife Angela, David Smith. Plus Court TV anchor and former prosecutor Nancy Grace, defense attorney Mark Garagos, and covering the case for Newsweek, Kevin Pulrano. All next on Larry King Live. We start in Salt Lake with Cynthia Smart Owens, Elizabeth's aunt. She's the sister of Ed Smart, the father of Elizabeth. The family issued a long statement today, uniting with all families in America who have had children abducted, and say they want to tie a light blue ribbon around trees and homes and neighborhoods, not only in honor of Elizabeth, but for all families with a missing child. What do you make of that, Cynthia?
I appreciate you repeating that. That's exactly what we're hoping to do. You know, initially, because Elizabeth's favorite color is light blue, we were hanging these blue ribbons around and wearing them in showing hope for her. But this is so much bigger than just Elizabeth. It's amazing how many children have been abducted since Elizabeth has been, and it's a long and grueling process, and we just have to decide that we're tired of it, and we will not allow this to continue on. It's just absolutely outrageous that this happens. So we need to show solidarity that we're going to pursue these people, not allow it to happen anymore.
You feel that's the only kind of preventative, by coming down hard when these people are caught?
Well, no, actually there's a lot more to it. I think creating the kind of homes and communities where people don't develop this kind of mental illness, where they think that they can do this, is really where it starts. It's really much bigger than that, but I think we can also all be on the lookout for the children in our communities and for these other missing children.
How has it been for you, the aunt? It's your brother's kid.
Well, I think particularly at night, it's so nice to have our children with us and feel that we're secure in our homes. And to think that Elizabeth is not there and wonder where she is, it's very hard. We're just trying to stick it out and have faith, and it's really our faith and the support of so many wonderful people that are helping us get through this.
Doesn't optimism, though, wane after a while, after this long a period?
Somewhat. I think it's just an inner hope that we feel, though, a spiritual hope, a strength through God, and we know that His will be done, but we're praying that His will allow Elizabeth to come home.
Do you have any thoughts on Mr. Reese?
He certainly is a suspicious character. It's hard because we don't have access to all of the evidence that the police do to make any kind of a judgment, and I'm sure if they had enough information, they would be stronger than they have been already. But we'll be anxious to see what it brings. We certainly would like to feel like we're getting closer to getting Elizabeth back home.
In that sense, you would hope then that it is not him, right?
It seems somewhat grim if it is he.
Because, you know, then where is Elizabeth if he's been in jail for over 2 weeks? You talk about your faith. Don't you ever question that during something like this?
Well, we always like to believe the best, and I think sometimes when we listen to ourselves, we have to say, are we listening to what we want to believe, or really a higher power that's guiding us? there are times, I admit, where I kind of think, what are the odds at this point, and where is she, and how is she, and get somewhat discouraged. Today I was talking to Edward, and I said, Edward, how do you really feel? And we were talking about a lot of different things about Mr. Reese and others, and that was the one thing he absolutely perked up on very quickly, and he said, I really feel very, very strongly that she's alive, and that helped strengthen the rest of our hope, too.
Thank you. Cynthia Smart Owens, Elizabeth's aunt, the sister of Ed Smart, Elizabeth's father. Joining us now in Salt Lake City is David K. Smith. He is the attorney for both Reese's, Mr. Reese and his wife. Richard Reese issued a statement late this afternoon. I guess, did you, David, were you the office that issued this statement?
Yes, I was.
Let me read it quickly. This is the statement by not a suspect, not an accused, by Mr. Reese. First, I want to say I have no knowledge of Elizabeth Smart's abduction, disappearance, or whereabouts. I want to say to the Smart family, from my family, Angela, my stepson, and myself, that we pray for her safe return. I, too, lost a 9-year-old son in an accident in 1985, and I know what Ed and Lois are going through. I've cooperated fully with the FBI, the police, and AP&P. I've taken polygraph tests, have been through 26 hours of questioning, given blood, DNA, surrendered my vehicle. The police and FBI have searched my home and shed, and have even dug up my garden, and they found nothing. I think the reason I'm involved is because of my past. I would not nor could not hurt a child in any way. The night of Elizabeth's disappearance, I was home with my wife, Angela. I awoke around 6 to 6:30 p.m. to hear on the news that Elizabeth Smart, Ed's daughter, had been kidnapped. I was in shock. What about the other arguments, David, or the other concepts that seem to point to him? What does he tell you?
He tells me that he just had nothing to do with it, and he is just amazed by her disappearance. He hopes that she can be found and returned to the Smart family.
Is this a case, David, where his prior record, although not dealing with abductions and the like, is running against him?
Yes, I think so.
So how, from a legal standpoint, do you handle it?
Well, I think we go day by day at this point. We want to make sure that he's protected from a legal standpoint in terms of what information goes out and how that information may be disseminated to various media. But we also are in the process of gathering information to help us in the event that he may be charged. We certainly don't want to fall behind the 8 ball on that.
Do you expect that? There is a grand jury investigation. Do you expect charges or not?
I think it's too early for me to say. It's pointing perhaps to something more than just an investigation, but I honestly don't know all that the police know. They're not telling anybody everything they know, and perhaps when we do hear more information, we'll be able to form a better judgment on that.
CNN is reporting that investigators are checking whether the Reeses are legally wed. I know you represent both of them. If perchance they are not, does that mean she doesn't have the spousal recusal from testifying?
Well, that's the first that I've heard of that, but that may be an issue if they are not legally wed. They advised me that they were legally wed on Valentine's Day.
Does she stand strongly by her statement that he was home all night with her?
Very strongly.
Is she being called before the grand jury again, do you know?
She may be. She testified day before yesterday, and they had her on hold, if it were, so she may be called back.
Is he a man, David, if he didn't do this, we're looking at Angela now, caught up in one of those web of circumstances where everything points without exactly hitting the mark?
Yes.
Like the 1,000 miles on the car. Have you asked him about that?
I have.
And?
It's really not appropriate for me to talk about that because of the ongoing investigation, but I have asked him about it.
Does the answer satisfy you?
Yes, it does.
How did you get this case?
I represented Angela on an unrelated civil matter, and then she called me when this Mr. Reese was taken up and booked by the police.
A neighbor on this program last night, Karma Tolman, says that after Reese's parole violation arrest, Angela told her, or she had heard, that Angela was asking neighbors in the trailer park if they'd seen Richard leave the trailer that night. Is that wrong information?
Yes, that's wrong information.
In other words, to your knowledge, that she did not go around asking neighbors if they saw Richard leave the
I
trailer.
asked her about that this morning, and she said that's not accurate.
That she never did anything like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Do you expect some resolution here? Do you think are the police working in all areas, by the way, away from your client as well?
I don't know. You hear that they're working on other leads, certainly, and I hope that they are. I hope that they're not excluding other possible evidence that could lead to another person to the exclusion of looking exclusively into Mr. Reese.
And finally, David, he said he's cooperated fully with the FBI police and the AP&P. Who's that?
Adult probation and parole.
I see. So they're all part of the questioning team.
Yes, adult probation and parole is involved because of his parole violation.
Thank you, David. We'll be calling on you again. David K. Smith, the attorney for the Reese's. Nancy Grace, Mark Garagos, and Kevin Perino will join us. Then Imus. Tomorrow night we repeat our interview with Leslie Van Houten, denied parole again today. Don't go away.
Let me tell you, with 12 miles of fence, a barn full of horses, jeans to buy, a shop to keep running, limbs to trim, garden to plant, grass to cut, and an old dog to keep happy, no wonder I've been spending a lot of time at Tractor Supply. If you've got 1 acre or 1,000 and a job to do, get to know your Tractor Supply store. They're busting out with what you need to take care of that job.
People everywhere are discovering the power of cheap tickets. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can find airfares up to 40% off on the web or on the phone. Airfares you can't find anywhere else. Cheap tickets, the best kept secret in travel for over 15 years.
Cancer.
The doctor walked into the room and said, "You have cancer, and it's inoperable. You have only 6 months to live." So I turned to my wife and said, 33 years together is not enough. So I decided to fight, and I started looking for options. Our daughter, who is a nurse, told me about Cancer Treatment Centers of America. It's like no hospital you've ever seen. They treated me, the whole person, not just my tumor, with the latest medical technology, nutrition, and supplements to stimulate my immune system to fight my cancer.
To find out about alternative treatment options at our hospitals, call toll-free 1-800-641-7333.
It's been 7 years now. I beat cancer, and so can you.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America, winning the fight against cancer every day.
CNN presents the most honored documentary program on television. Taking you on epic journeys. Bringing you the unforgettable. Showing you the extraordinary. CNN presents winner of the 2001 Peabody Award. And now, the 2002 Edward R. Murrow Award for News Documentary. CNN presents Saturdays at 8 and Sundays at 7. Only on CNN.
Welcome back. In Boston tonight is Nancy Grace, the anchor for Trial Heat on Court TV, former prosecutor. In L.A. here is Mark Garagos, defense attorney. And in Salt Lake City, Kevin Perino, correspondent for Newsweek. What are you doing in Boston, Nancy?
Well, I'm here working on a victims' rights issue, and I'm totally overwhelmed by what I just heard regarding David Smith and what he had to say. I noticed that he wouldn't commit himself to an explanation of that 1,000 miles that turned up on the odometer. You know why? Because he doesn't want that to come up and bite him in the neck come trial time if we ever get that far.
What do you make, Mark, of the statement by Mr. Reese?
I thought it was interesting. You know, we talked last night about the what I thought they were doing, and he confirmed today 26 hours worth of questioning of this gentleman, which is exactly what I expect or would expect the police to be doing. They want to see if they can pin him down and then get that story to change all along. Also, apparently he took a polygraph, but one of the things that was omitted from the statement was whether or not he passed the polygraph, and that's one of the things that I would want to know. One of the other things that I thought was interesting, too, was this idea that he's trying to debunk the, I guess, Angela, this idea that she was running around trying to canvass the trailer park, right, and see whether or not there was anybody else who might impeach this alibi.
Yeah, but Mark...
There was a story out today, I don't know if you heard it, Nancy, that apparently this woman is a frequent abuser of some drugs and frequently nods out and does some other things. And
that's a whole other
No, apparently, yeah, Angela's got her own issues, I guess.
Yeah, but one other thing that we can surmise from this, I don't know anything about any drug history on her account. I've heard rumors, but I do know this. For her to say, or the lawyer to say, the neighbors made that up, take a look at it cold-heartedly. Who has more motive to concoct a story? Not the neighbors. They don't have any skin in the game. Why would they make this whole thing
Well,
up?
that's what I said last night. If it's true, it's a devastating impeachment of her statement.
Kevin Perino of Newsweek, we are told that the FBI took hair samples of the father-in-law today. Why?
I don't know. Possibly to compare with the hair. The FBI took a tan Scottish-style golf cap from the father-in-law's trailer. We know that yesterday. Maybe they took those samples to compare with the hairs in there, see if any of them didn't match the father-in-law.
Exactly. That's a
Possibility they might be looking at him, Mark?
No, I think it's more to do with exclusion, because if you have somebody who you know would have a sample there, it's much easier than to have to try and dissect and do every single one. They can do a comparison.
Right.
They can exclude him, and then they know whether or not they've got anything else there that they need to pursue.
Nancy, what did you think of the Smarts making a statement by joining all this with all abducted children, with all parents?
Well, every time I have watched them, Larry, they are so genuine, and they're obviously in so much pain. And right when I start looking at the statistics and spouting them off about the likelihood of her being alive and the likelihood of an acquaintance kidnapping her, they seem to have this spark of hope that is contagious. And it infuses me with the hope that she is still alive. But I agree with you, Larry. If it is Reese, that's bad for the girl, because that means that she's, if she's alive, tied up to a tree somewhere, and if not, then he's covering.
Mark, the mechanic who worked on the white Jeep, said that he's less certain about the 1,000-mile figure, that it's somewhere maybe between the 500 and 1,000 miles. He says the Jeep was covered with dirt when returned on June 8th. He says before returning the Jeep, Reese parked across the street, removed seat covers, and post-hole digger from the Jeep. He says Reese was in an uncharacteristically bad mood.
Well, in some ways, the less mileage that's unaccounted for is more incriminating. The more mileage, if you heard a figure that it was 1,000 or if it was in excess of 1,000 miles, it's virtually impossible in that span of time for him to have driven that kind of mileage. But if it's less mileage, then it becomes a lot more possible and in some ways a lot more incriminating. So, and obviously you don't want to hear about post-hole diggers unless he's got some explanation for that, although he is a handyman. So then I suppose that would be the argument there.
Kevin, are they focused... I'm sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
If they were there, Mark, for an innocent reason, something not nefarious, post-hole diggers, why would he take them out of the car? Another thing about the car...
And I can guarantee you, Nancy, he's been, during that 26 hours, the police have asked him about that. They've probably asked him about the mileage upside down, right side up, and have gotten at least 3 different explanations.
If they were there for an innocent reason, why not leave them there? Why take them? Why the plastic bags? Why remove the seat covers? It all looks bad. And another thing I want to ask you guys about, when the neighbor first confronted him digging at, 6:30, 7:30 a.m. in the morning, one of the first things he said was, "Did you hear about the little smart girl getting kidnapped? I worked for him. Now the police are going to implicate me." That's like me saying, "Mr. Officer, did you hear about that bank robbery on 53rd? Well, I didn't do it." I mean, why would he even bring that up?
Kevin Perino, are they going anywhere else other than on this Reese trail?
Yeah, they say they are. They're obviously still looking very carefully at Reese. They haven't called him a suspect yet, but they're continuing to investigate him. But my sources tell me they're also looking at 4 or 5 other people very carefully, and we don't know their names at this point. But But yeah, they haven't limited investigation to Reese, and they haven't ruled anyone out at this point.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go to some phone calls for Nancy Grace, Mark Garagos, and Kevin Perrino, and then Don Imus will be our guest. As we go to break, here are statements made by Nethmul the mechanic.
When the car, the white Jeep, came in, there was all the window was rolling down, and then the car looked dirty. And
How dirty?
well, it's like people go up in the mountain or do some yard work or something. It's just kind of dirty.
Hundreds of movies, millions of emotions. Star Super PAC. More new hit movies than HBO or Showtime. Call 1-800-SUPER-PAC.
Peace requires a new and different Palestinian leadership.
A lifelong warrior's role is called into question.
Is this acceptable?
An in-depth look at the Palestinian Authority president. Then, a battle-hardened prime minister in a struggle for national survival. Find out what drives Yasser Arafat and Ariel Sharon, two men on different sides of the Middle East conflict. A special People in the News, CNN Sunday, 8 Eastern.
This is Talk Back Live by Marcel Neville. It's all about what's on your mind. The news of the day, issues that concern you, controversy, information, a little attitude, right here on Talk Back Live.
The stories that affect you can happen anywhere.
For the latest news from Washington and around the world.
Wolf Blitzer reports, weekdays 5 Eastern on CNN.
What happened to the tree?
Oh, that? Well, it was blocking the satellite signal, so I told the installer guy to do whatever he had to do.
With satellite TV, reception can be a problem. But with AT&T digital cable, there's no dish, no hassles, problem solved.
Makes it cool.
What happened to the table?
AT&T broadband.
Get a head start on the summer vacation season at Polvo RV. To celebrate our position as the Northwest #1 Winnebago dealer, we're having a giant Winnebago super sale. All Winnebagos are marked down through July 20th with prices starting at only $349 a month. We're smashing the competition. Founders starting at only $475 a month. Plus, we've got travel trailers starting at only $119 a month. At Polvo RV, all of our prices are backed by our $1,000 lowest price guarantee. Polvo RV, your vacation station.
This is CNN.
Nancy Grace, if he isn't a suspect, what is he?
Well, I think he is a suspect. And the reason they're not saying he's a suspect is because if they clear him and then they later find the tree perp, the tree at trial can use the fact police blamed somebody else and call them a suspect as well. That could hurt a trial for the state later on down the road.
Could there be another reason, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, more fundamentally is they don't have to. They've got the ability to keep him on a parole hold. Because they do that, they don't have to charge him. Normally, if you got arrested or if you had somebody, you'd either have to file a complaint against them, indict them, or cut them loose within 72 hours. You don't have to do it. In this case, they just violate his parole. They can keep him in there. They've got the luxury of looking at 4 or 5 other people. They don't have to do anything with him except keep going back to him. He's got to cooperate with his parole officer as well, and the APB. So they've got the best of all possible worlds in terms of an investigation.
What do the police tell you, Kevin, as to why they're not saying suspect?
Well, I mean, the big so far is that they don't have enough hard evidence at this point to charge him. Now, I don't know how important the word suspect is. I mean, they're obviously looking carefully at him. A lot of the pieces sort of fit, but they're going to need something more than that to indict him, and they don't have that right now.
Let's take a call. Valiant, Oklahoma.
Hello. My question is, if
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you there? Go ahead.
If Elizabeth Smart's hair or fingerprints happen to be found in Rissy's Jeep, can he reasonably defend himself by saying that they're from when the Smarts owned the Jeep?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be, obviously, would be the centerpiece of his defense. He's going to say, That was their Jeep. It's expected that the hair would be there. It would be expected that any DNA would be there, unless you can do some kind of a
Time check,
a carbon dating or something like that to find a half-life
we saw it
of it.
work in the Simpson case when Simpson claimed the blood at Nicole's condo had been left there at some other time. The jury bought into it. So that's a number one, a primary attack on state DNA evidence. That's an excellent thought, actually.
Because the DNA, Nancy, can't tell you time the hair was there?
That's right, like the hair, fiber, fingerprints, blood. You can identify somewhere that between 1 and 5 million, but you can't date it. That's the problem. That's why it's so important that the state prove he removed those seat covers, because that would show a guilty conscience.
There are some tests that they can do to give you broad ranges of dates. But part of the problem you've got in this case is that he is somebody who has been inside of that house and is somebody who's been inside of that car. So that tends to work against them in terms of kind of closing all of the angles.
It won't work in front of a jury. They're not going to buy some carbon-14 test that you're talking about, Mark. I understand where you're coming from, but you put this in front of a jury with the evidence, they're not buying that.
Well, no, I don't think that that's going to be anything that they're going to hang their hat on in this case. In this case, they're going to have to come up with something more. Kevin, I think, is absolutely right. One of the reasons that they haven't done it at this point, besides the fact that they've got the luxury of time because of the parole violation, is that they've got the time to try and figure out where she is and what's happened to her.
Little Rock, Arkansas, hello.
Yes, Larry, I'd like to ask all of you, if your child, would you be satisfied with what the Salt Lake Police Department is doing?
Kevin, you're on the scene. Would you be?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a little bit too early to tell. I would be, I think, a little bit disappointed because we know that Reese was questioned the 6th, and he wasn't, his parole wasn't revoked until 9 days later. Now, I mean, police have said that that's simply because they had just speeds. They couldn't really dig deep enough into his background. But I would find that a little bit disappointing, I think.
Now, have they come up, Kevin, with anything guessing at motive here, like sex crime, burglary gone bad, kidnapping for ransom went awry, any other scenario?
They don't know for sure, is what they're telling me, but they're looking at things. They're looking at the possibility that it was a sex crime. They're also looking at the possibility that it was a burglary gone bad or an aborted ransom kind of thing.
Is there a best bet, Nancy, in this kind of matter?
Sure. If you're talking specifically about when you don't know a horse, look at his track record. We don't see a sex history. We don't see a history of pedophilia in any way. What we do see is him not afraid to use a weapon and trying to get money, even breaking into jukebox machines and soft drink machines to get money, burglary. So if he is the one, I would say it's more likely that it's a ransom case gone bad.
How do you equate how well his attorney is dealing with it, based on the short time we had with him?
It's tough to say. I mean, he's saying all the right things from his standpoint. I thought he was pretty candid in terms of probably expecting something to happen besides this being an investigation. I think he's got a problem, though, in terms of conflict of interest. He's representing right now the wife and Reese. At some point, real quick, he's going to have to conflict out of one of those people at a certain point, because there's all kinds of issues floating around as to what the wife's saying.
Was it smart to release his statement?
Well, yeah, I think he's got to say something. I mean, and there's with this kind of immense public attention and pressure, he wants to say something. I think it's appropriate. The problem with it is, the downside, obviously, is that people like I are out here asking questions about what he didn't say in the statement.
Nancy,
well,
you were
another
going to say?
thing, I think he's got a second career as an extraordinary tap dancer, because he told us just enough. But remember, he never mentioned Reese's polygraph, and don't you? Reese had passed that polygraph. He would have told us that immediately off the top of the show.
You'd be trumpeting that from the hilltops if he had passed the polygraph, trust me.
Kevin, do you think this will, with July 4th coming, and know how they celebrated in Utah as they do across states, they really put a show on there, this to die down?
I think it may, and just because I think we've reached a phase where it's kind of a slow phase where they're continuing to gather evidence. My sources say He probably won't be charged in the next few days. I think there's a chance that it'll slow down a little bit in the next week.
Well, we'll be calling on you again. I think the panel will be back on Monday. Nancy Garagos and Kevin Perino. Thank you all very much. When we come back, the man who's supposed to be with us for an hour because of his smart story, he's got half the show, and he's one of my favorite people. He's the I-Man, Don Imus, at his ranch in New Mexico. Live next. Don't go away.
If you were born between 1917 and 1962, call 1-800-306-5400 now to find out more about the Silver Care Plan. The Silver Care Plan is easy to plan ahead. The average funeral now costs over $6,000, and many can cost up to $10,000 or more. But did you know your survivors may be able to receive government death benefits up to $300 if they qualify, leaving your loved ones to pay the balance? The Silver Care Plan helps your loved ones. It will help with funeral and any other expenses. You must be age 40 to 80 to qualify. No physical examination is necessary, and coverage starts as soon as you're accepted. To get free information about the Silver Care Plan, call 1-800-306-5400. You will have lifetime coverage, and by starting now, you can lock in the lowest rate possible. With the Silver Care Plan, rates will never increase, your benefits will never decrease, and your plan cannot be canceled. You also get a free planning guide to help carry out your wishes, so everything's done just as you want them to be. The Silver Care Plan pays cash to your family when they need it most. The Silver Care Plan is something we all have to think about. It's something we'll all need. To get free information about the Silver Care Plan and its benefits, call 1-800-306-5400. You have absolutely no obligation. The information is free, and so is the phone call. Operators are waiting for your call. Don't put it off. Call now.
To get free information about the Silver Care Plan, call 1-800-306-5400. That's 1-800-306-5400.
America decides. CNN is there with the latest news straight from the campaign trail. For complete coverage from the most experienced team of reporters and analysts anywhere, stay up to the minute. Stay with CNN, America's campaign headquarters.
A surprising solution for some fertility problems. On the next American Morning, a controversial treatment for weight loss may be a blessing for overweight women who couldn't get pregnant. Until now. That's Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern.
Welcome back to Larry King Live in our semi-annual visit with him. We either are with him in New York or from his ranch in New Mexico. That's the ranch that he started a couple of years back, a ranch for kids with cancer and other diseases and their siblings as well. He spends the entire summer there, and on a personal to go there in August and get our own personal look at this ranch. This is what, third year, Don, or second?
This is the third full year, Larry. We actually founded the ranch in 1998. We even had kids out here before anything was built. They stayed in Santa Fe, and then they came out during the day. But this is our third operation.
And you tell me I will be very surprised at what I see.
Well, you know, Architectural Digest did a cover story on it back in December, and it was a good version of what the ranch looks like, and a terrific story from Nancy Collins, and I know you know Nancy. And
I do.
You probably tried to date Nancy. But, so as did a lot of other people there, you know.
And you earlier on, I meant.
No, you just leave me out of this.
Okay.
But,
leave you out of this. You're only the guest.
But it's a fabulous spread, and we're very proud of it. And, you know,
I look forward to seeing it. Yeah, go ahead.
That was a fascinating first half hour you had, and I was saying to the guy, I could have watched it for the entire hour, but a couple of things I thought were remarkable. One, I guess maybe the Smart family has done this before, but I thought the aunt was enormously just in including these other children, because I was wondering, you know, you're out here in the 50 miles from civilization, and we don't watch television and that sort of thing. You sort of lose track of one. But I wondered why all of the attention on this case. What was so unique about this case when there are thousands of other children who are missing, and I don't know that I still know. I mean, why focus on this case?
We ask that almost every night, and its general thinking is it's a beautiful 14-year-old girl. The family is well off. It's a neighborhood of $1 million plus homes, and she's taken right out of the house. So that is kind of unusual.
Doesn't mean they aren't heartbroken, that's for sure.
Oh, boy.
You do think about the thousands of other kids. And the way we work here at the ranch is I work the morning shift and my wife works the evening shift, and she happened to see your show with John Walsh, who's a wonderful individual. I never met him, I don't know him, but
you would love him.
The guy's a saint.
He is.
And I guess he made the point about all of the other kids who may not be as well, may not be so attractive, who are also missing, and they've got parents that are heartbroken. But
and the cowards who take them.
Well, you know, the thing that I was thinking as I was watching, I listened to Nancy, and one thing I would recommend to suspects is get an attorney who doesn't also look like a suspect. maybe that's unfair. But I was thinking the same thing. You know, why didn't he say, why can't you answer the question about the 1,000? And two, if I took a polygraph and you passed it, you'd be screaming you passed it. I mean, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a dope. But I mean, I figured that out, so maybe I'll get Nancy, what's her name? Nancy, whatever, get her job.
Grace. Get her. Yeah. Okay, let's touch some other bases. The president is having a colonoscopy tomorrow. I've had mine. Have you had yours?
Yes.
Okay. Should we worry as the public?
Oh, no, not at all. No, I had mine. They played Randy Travis music for me, and they had candles, and it was great. So, speaking of Randy Travis, he's doing a concert here at the ranch on Sunday for the kids.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's great. Tell me about this before I ask you about these other areas. I know you're hot on this, and we just got the CD on this Flatlanders album called Now. What's so special about them?
This is the best album that, you know, I used to be a disc jockey. It's the best album I've heard in 25 years. It's the best album that I've heard since Paul Simon's Graceland. It features It features three legends in Texas: Jimmy Dale Gilmore, Joe Ely, and Butch Hancock. And it would be like if you got Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, and I don't know one together to do an album that none of the three can sing as well as my friend Delbert McClinton. But you put them together, and it is a great album. What it is it may be a little too country for some modern country stations, but it is. You listen to it. There are three great songs on it. And by the way, I don't know. Never met them. I know who they are, obviously. But I had them on the show. But they were in New York, and I was here in New Mexico. And I'm almost ready to fly around the country, like the old days. Larry Chucky's money to play this record. But here's what I will do.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. I am very serious about this. The first country station in any top 10 market, you know, L.A., Cleveland, Chicago, the first country station that reports to Radio and Records or Billboard that they have any single from the Flatlanders album in their top 10, I'll donate $10,000 to that person's favorite charity or the music director's charity or whatever they want to do. But it has to be, they have to legitimately get it, one of the singles into the top 10. They have to report it to either Radio and Records or Billboard magazine.
There you have it on record. And by the way, that's the kind of guy the I-Man is. You know, he gives a crusty exterior, and he's kind of rough, and he could be mean or something. That's kind of an act. The I-Man has a lot of heart, and if he likes something, he likes you.
I would recommend
the I-Man.
Not to belabor this, but I would recommend Waving My Heart Goodbye or My Wildest Dreams Are Going Away. Three great cuts. But I don't know if you're into country music or not, Larry. Every time
I like it. I like to tell stories, and I like the beat. I like the music, and my wife sings a lot of country. I like it.
When I say you have that horrible woman from Canada on, or what is her name?
Celine.
That could be her. Yeah. Well, she's not horrible. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm saying. Well, or Tony Bennett or somebody. We're sick of those people, Larry. We want the Flatlanders.
Hey. The Pledge of Allegiance, unconstitutional because of under God, ruled by a California court. What do you think?
Well, you know, I know the suit was brought by a guy in Sacramento, right, who's a lawyer and a doctor.
Yep.
That's, well, first of all, that's somebody who's got too much time in their hands. I mean, decide to be one or the other, or sue yourself for malpractice. But One of the things, I first started going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings 15 years ago, maybe a little longer now. One of the things that bothered some people in AA was the use of the word God. So what they told us in AA, they said, you know, you need to think of God as a higher power. Now, God can be, it can be a religious figure if you want it to be. It could be Suge Knight. It could be Randy Travis. I mean, it could be, or God could be a tree. So,
right.
Doesn't
upset you.
I don't have a big problem with it. So
We'll take a break and be back with... We'll be back with my man, the host of the top-rated Imus in the Morning on the Fan Radio in New York. By the way, that's the highest #1 revenue radio station in America, and it's also simulcast on MSNBC, our friendly competitor. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Is this how you trim your lawn? Or is this your method? Why hassle with trimmer spools that tangle, jam, and never work? Make your life easier with the Weed Thrasher, the revolutionary system specifically designed for your gas-powered trimmer. With the Weed Thrasher's monster cutters, you can trim around rocks, right next to sidewalks, and even up against fences. Ordinary trimmer spools jam. The twine wears down to nubs in no time, and that tangled line is a frustrating hassle. Or worse yet, those expensive plastic cutting blades that can shatter. But Weed Thrasher's monster cutters are 10 times thicker than ordinary trimming lines. They can't tangle. They're tougher. They last a lot longer. And replacement is a snap.
I don't wrestle with frustrating tangled lines anymore now that I installed the Weed Thrasher head. This is the best ever.
We guarantee Weed Thrasher will easily mount onto your gas-powered trimmer or your money back. And installing the monster cutters is a snap. Worn-down nubs from a thrashing. Tangled spools, give them a thrashing.
This is easy. It cuts great, and it saves me all that aggravation. It's a snack.
Now, through this special TV offer, you'll get the Weed Thrash and 12 tough monster cutters for only $19.99. But wait, when you order your Weed Thrasher in the next 10 minutes, we'll give you a life buy of monster cutters free. Call us anytime and we'll send you more monster cutters. All you pay is the shipping and handling. That's right, a lifetime supply of monster cutters free. So don't delay. Order Weed Thrasher and your free lifetime supply of monster cutters now.
Make your life easier with the Weed Thrasher. Call 1-800-306-5300. That's 1-800-306-5300. Check our money order to the address on your screen. So call 1-800-306-5300. That number again, 1-800-306-5300.
A first look at what's happening in your world.
From wherever the story is happening. When you need to know how it all adds up.
It's the human side of human events.
It's the people talking about tomorrow, tonight.
Or a different way of looking at the story.
Every day, every night,
everywhere.
You can depend
on CNN.
CNN.
CNN. You can depend on CNN.
Skirting the news with the I-Man. We'll take some calls in a moment. What do you make of the Martha Stewart mess, if we could think of any other thing to call it?
Well, I'll tell you, there are a few things that really make me feel, but that's one of them. I mean, I just think it just couldn't happen to a better person. You know, by the way, Outlanders are in Houston, Texas tonight at the big Verizon shindig. So after the show, everybody there in Houston will get out and see them. Well, you know, here's the thing that I find remarkable about Martha Stewart is the woman's got to be worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
Absolutely.
And this was a
$280,000.
I mean, come on here. So, but I've seen some of the editorial card stuff that I've seen in Newsweek and in. Hey, by the way, does the Newsweek report? I mean, the guy is cute, but does he have a clue what's going on in that case? Honestly,
you talking about Kevin?
Well, whatever. I mean, he's a nice-looking guy, but come on. Anyway.
Okay. The New York Times though said on one of the op-eds said Martha's getting rougher treatment because she's a woman, and it stirs class envy.
And that's
you
bad
have a comment.
because I don't understand what the problem is. I mean,
class envy's okay to you.
Well, I think it's, I mean, that's what we are.
You live on
it. Part of the principles of our country, you know. So.
What do you make of what's going on with all these? What about these corporations in America? The Enron thing, and now the .com, and what's going on?
Well, you Well, you see, what we're learning now is that this has been going on forever. And it started it started back in the Michael Malkin junk bond deal. Not to pick on him, he's a nice guy, but and unfortunately, I mean, I got great friends at Merrill Lynch, and they're my broker, and they continue to be my broker, and I wouldn't the world, but I mean, you can't hype stocks that you know are worthless, and then they're having a big laugh on you and me because we're sitting down here, we're doped, and we don't know what's going on. And I think these companies thought they are cooking their books and thought the same sort of thing. They get, and these executives, the key to figuring out what's going on in these big corporations, I used to wonder, well, why would a big-time executive take $1 million salary? And it's but it's not, it's not. But they got all of those stock options. Well, the stock options are only worth money if they increase the value of the stock. So whatever they have to increase the value of the stock, if it takes, in the case of
takes
all of these
lying.
various companies, if it takes cooking the books, and that's what, so it's a built-in disaster. At some point, SEC or somebody's going to have to get involved. I mean, I guess you have some constitutional issues there, but somehow that's going to have to rest. The compensation paid these executives versus the stock options, because they're only interested in the performance of the company, and some of them are dishonest, as we're finding.
Mankato, Kansas, we take the I-Man. Hello.
Good evening, Larry and Don.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask your input. Do you believe the American criminal justice system's too lenient? To use your example of Enron and WorldCom, they're getting away with murder. They're obstruction of justice, and I just think that promotes further dishonesty if they think they can get away with something, and the justice system will let them off and pray they won't get caught. What is your feeling on
Think
that?
you can beat the system, Don?
Well, one of my heroes, of course, is the great former mayor of New York City, Rudolph Giuliani. Now, one of the things he was as equally pleasing as the Martha Stewart mess is when he went down to Wall Street and put handcuffs on all those guys in their Brooks Brothers suits and let them out there. Unfortunately, it turned out some of them were innocent, but these guys ought to be doing a hard time. I mean, there shouldn't be.
One other thing I want to ask you before we get the break. Cabinet-level Homeland Security, you agree with the idea?
Well, I think it's okay, but I think it's got to include under that umbrella to be the FBI and the CIA, or what's the point? I mean, I don't understand.
Well, they're not putting it under.
Things have changed. Well, then it's stupid.
We'll take a break and be back with more of the I-Man. He's at his ranch, the Ranch for Kids with Cancer thing he does in New Mexico every summer, and he's there every summer for the full summer. And, of course, he's the host of Imus in the morning on the radio and television as well. We'll be right back.
A surprising solution for some women's fertility problems. On the next American Morning, a controversial treatment for weight loss may be a blessing for overweight who couldn't get pregnant. Until now, that's Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern.
Live, unscripted, unpredictable.
It's time to talk with a little attitude.
But live with Arthel Neville, weekdays 3 Eastern on CNN.
Take me fishing and show me how to drive the boat. Take me fishing because my wedding will be sooner than you think.
AT&T keeps you connected with programming, offers, and more. Look what we're bringing you this month.
Pick it up. It's for you.
Me love Tupac. You down with Tupac?
You crazy?
I don't have hair. I'm like one of them cats.
Oh, come on.
Crank Yankers. Sundays at 10:30 on Comedy Central. AT&T Broadband. We're keeping you connected.
Summer Jam, this attractive offer.
The new 105.9, The River. First class rock. 105.9 River. First class rock. Take a family vacation any day of the week. Go boating. And for quality boats of all kinds and the highest standards of service, shop the members of the Portland Marine Association. They're listed on pmda.org. So log on and let's go boating.
The name of that Flatlanders album is Now Again. They're entertaining tonight in Houston and radio stations in the top 10 markets. If you get them one of the singles from that album on the top 10, Imus gives you $10,000 for the station's favorite charity. Let's take a call. Cape, California.
Hi, Larry.
Hi.
Don Imus. How you doing today? Love your radio show. Can you tell me what happened to Don and Mike in New York City? If they're not on live anymore?
Are they on? They were taken off for a while. Are they on or out of, not on the air in New York, Don?
Don and Mike?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know whether they're on or not. No, I know Opie and Anthony are obviously still on. Well,
Don and Mike are on. They're on in Washington, right? Don and Mike. I think
that's where they originated.
Yeah. Las Vegas. Hello.
Hello, Larry.
Hi.
I'm a huge fan of Don Imus,
So
and I
am
was
I.
wondering if he's retiring anytime soon.
Aha. You thinking of retiring?
Do I think I will?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be, 85. I don't want to be Mike Wallace still, breaking into people's houses with your camera crew, So, not that I do that, but I think if we get the Flatlanders in the top 10, I might pack it in. So.
Well, don't you have
know
a
what?
new contract through what?
4 more years, half more years. Well,
How about Brokaw retiring, your friend? What do you make of Tom leaving?
Well, he's not going to go anywhere. Give up the anchor duties after this next election in 04, and then he's going to hang around and do dopey specials, so he's not going to go anywhere. I love him, don't you?
Yeah, I love him. Glendora,
Really,
California. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Don Imus. How are you?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Good.
I wondered how you can shoot those senators and the congressmen and all these people, and then all of a sudden they're on your show and they're your best friends, and you love them so much as I love you and your show.
All right, how do you explain, Don, that you seem to take on these people and then they happily come on?
I don't know. That's a pretty good question, lady. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they do. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not malicious. I think we're fairly fair with people, and I think people understand when they're dirtbags. And I think they got to get reelected, and they want to, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, that's a good question. So.
What do you make of the ongoing crisis in the church, the Catholic Church?
Well, you had I think Tim Russett had a guy, Bishop Wilson Pickett, not Pickett. He's a singer. Wilton Gregory, or whatever his name was. They had the big bishop. Yeah, they had bishops meeting in Dallas.
Okay, right.
And they said, well, we're going to throw all the priests out who've had their hands on the kids, even once, because of death. The thing you have to remember, if you're a Catholic, or even if you're not, is that they wouldn't have done anything about any of this. Nobody would have said anything if it weren't for the Boston Globe screaming about it, and that's essentially where it started. Now, it could have started someplace else. I mean, we actually had other problems. They had a problem here in Santa Fe 10, 12 years ago. But if not for the Boston Globe screaming about it, nobody would have ever said anything about it, and it would have continued. Oh, now the point I want to make is the bishops decided they're going to adopt a zero-tolerance policy with priests only because the public made them. But the issue that they have to address was the fact that about 2/3 of the bishops are responsible for knowingly shifting these pedophiles and these other people to these various parishes, knowing that they were abusing children and putting them in a position to abuse children again. What ought to do? All of the bishops, any bishop had anything to do with any of that shifted any priest who ever touched the kids, also ought to resign. Well, I mean, it's a
Do you have any strong opinions on anything I mean?
No, I don't, but I mean, it's keep your hands off the kids and stop shifting these jerks around, or get out. I mean, they're going to ruin the camp. And there are a lot of great priests, and there are a lot of wonderful. Father Tom Hartman, one of my dear friends, is a great priest, and the priest that married my nephew and his wife is a great priest. But I mean, you know, so and there are millions of Catholics broken over all this, over, you know, and they say, well, it's only a small percentage, but it's the priest. I mean, you're keeping your hands off the kids. What are you, nuts?
What do you? We got about a minute left. What do you make of Matt Lauer's new hairdo?
Who is Matt Lauer?
Okay, Jesse Ventura.
Who's Matt Lauer?
He's the
Oh, you mean the
co-host
guy on
of
the
the
Today
Today
Show?
Show. Yeah. He got like a
God,
beanie
who the
cut.
hell? Nobody.
People are talking about
Larry,
it, I know.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Okay.
Nobody.
Nobody. And Jesse Ventura is leaving the political scene. You going to miss him?
Good, get out. It's a fat meathead. God.
Thanks a lot, I-Man. Always great seeing you. I-Man is on vacation, by the way, from his radio show. He returns July 8th. We'll see you out at the ranch in August. I can't wait to see it. The ranch is for kids with cancer. And don't forget, Landers album. You got me hooked on this. Now Again. And again, radio stations. Get them in the top 10. You get 10,000 clarity. Don Imus, the host of Imus in the Morning. Always great seeing him. We thank him very much for joining us. When we come back, we'll be telling you about what's tomorrow and Sunday, 2 editions of Larry King Weekend that are very, very different, but you will find very, very interesting. And then what happens on Monday night as well. So stay right there, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Relax your body. Free your mind. And soothe your spirit. Enter your own quiet way. Quiet Moods, your escape to a relaxing world. Quiet Mood, the most beautiful music ever recorded. Quiet Moods, more than 3 full hours of music that will lift you up and soothe your spirit on 3 CDs or cassettes. Quiet Moods will work for you. We guarantee it. Discover the world of Quiet Moods. Here's how to order.
To order Quiet Moods, call 1-800-306-5300. That's 1-800-306-5300. Or send $24.99 for 3 cassettes or 3 CDs, plus $4.95 shipping and handling to Quiet Moods, P.O. Box 2919, Atlanta, Georgia 30301.
CNN Monday on the all-new Crossfire. It's the right versus the left line. The state of Virginia wants every classroom to display the motto, "In God We Trust." But critics have a big problem with that. The fuss over religion in school. 7 Eastern.